in the 1980s, when I was doing a workshop with the Women's Building, they gave me a stipend to create a piece. There were 13 women in the workshop. It was primarily women of color. And we started to record our dreams, and we would bring them in and talk about them as we were designing a piece that was basically about women's power. The images that came out of that workshop were kind of remarkable in the sense that they are in some ways more meaningful today than they were then. We started finding over a period of time that we had similar images. Each woman would come in with something that was a very similar image, like crossing water. Another one was standing in some kind of catastrophic event of eruption of a volcano, and similar kinds of ideas. They were very, in some ways, kind of far-fetched. How could we all have similar ideas? I remember reading about Samoan dreaming techniques, and that there were indigenous people that practiced dreaming. And it does go back to my own indigenous grandmother, who always asked me in the beginning of a day, how did you sleep? And then she would say, what did you dream? And I realized that she took very seriously the images that came up in my dreams, that I needed to pay attention to what they were telling me. So I think it's been always in my consciousness, but it became very clear in this workshop that it was a source for us to find a connection between the consciousness of these 13 women. I actually ran out of money and ran out of time. I didn't get to finish the 13 women's workshop. I was reading about When God Was Woman, and I was reading about Susan Griffin's book on women in nature. So I had started all these readings, and what I discovered was that there was a time before God was male, and going back into the matriarchal period, that there was a different sensibility, so that it wasn't the big white God in the sky with a beard and one who's giving life to, in Michelangelo's piece, The Birth of Adam, but a different sensibility. And so I was imagining what it was, what were the sensibilities of God being a woman, and how was that different? I started getting interested in the Amazons, and they started to appear in some of my pieces. And there was a lot of discussion at that time in the early feminist movement about women should be running the world, and how would it be different? And of course, we were, again, engaged in another war. I had already been making images about women being the progenitors of life. So it's a topic that has always been in my mind about what does it look like? And of course, we still have never realized what it would be to have a woman president, or to see what women's leadership would look like if it was really given the power. And I have, in my own work, really struggled to find other ways of leading that are not the male methods of sort of the CEO character, and who orders with authority, and the sort of patriarchal vision. It's an ongoing theme in my life and work. And